Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. How are you all today? I'm Steve Smith. For any new people here, it's good to have you. I haven't talked to you for a few days. I think it's been since last week. I've been busy. Well, I've been sick and then I've been busy. Had either the flu or that other thing, I don't know what, but I was pretty tired and really not, kept at things, but just kind of relaxed for a little bit till I started feeling better. The good part of it is that I'm pretty much done with the new book. It's funny. I've told you how I write. Sometimes it just doesn't come, and sometimes it does. And I tell you, over the last 4 days, it has just been spilling out the entire end of the story, and it's been fun to do. It's been amazing, and it's been fun. And I think I've got just a couple of days left, actually, before the book is finished in the writing phase, and then we'll go into the next phase, which doesn't take nearly as long. Last night I designed most of the cover, and I'll probably be putting the a picture of the cover up on the Patreon channel for the patrons to see. Get kind of a sneak preview of that, and we'll hope to have that book out and available within the next month. I think that's probably a good. The last time I said that with the last book, actually, it just turned out to be a couple of weeks, but I can't promise anything. We'll just see. Okay. As I was writing last night, the question came to me. Well, how should I say this? It came to me how many people think that they can't be fully prepared. And so that brings the question, is total preparedness, which I preach, is total preparedness possible? Okay. Listening to so many people involved in prepping, it just seems to be one negative thing after another. I mean, it just wears on you. At least it wears on me. That's why I don't pay attention to a lot of it. It seems as if so many are wound up in the negativity, just sure that horrible things are going to happen, and horrible things could happen. Don't get me wrong on that, but that the complaining about it and the worrying about it and the this and the that and I can only do so much attitude is they mistake that for actually doing something about it. It seems as if people want to be, they satisfy themselves by being afraid and being concerned and all of these things. And I think that's a horrible way to be. I mean, preparedness should be one of the most positive things you should do, possibly, you could possibly do. And so that's what I want to talk about here. Is total preparedness possible? Well, that comes down to two things. It depends on what you consider to be total preparedness, and then it depends on your attitude. Okay. Now, total preparedness, what is it? Let me back up. Let me go to attitude. Okay. For the people who come at it from a negative standpoint, oh, woe is me. There's nothing I can do. I can only do so much. Okay. I can't do any more. No matter what we do, it's not going to mean anything. It doesn't matter if, let's use an example. No matter how, your money isn't going to be worth anything, okay? No matter how much money you have, they're going to make money useless. So explaining why, well, that's not important, even though money can buy you all the stuff that you need right now. No matter what happens, and we get them in the comment sections all the time, right here, and I don't watch many other channels. There's a couple that I watch, and I see. Now, the couple of channels that I normally watch, I don't see a lot of negativity because they're positive channels. Okay, but when I happen to see others, I see a lot of negative comments. That's well, it doesn't matter what you do, it's not gonna work out. It's not gonna, Okay, for people like that, no, you're never going to be able to reach total preparedness because you won't let yourself. Let that be a lesson. Those people won't let themselves. They are driven by a strong won't instead of a strong will, as I always say. Okay, they're not going to open up. They're not going to expand their horizons. They're not going to expand their creativity and their imagination to be able to do what really needs to be done for total preparedness. Now, so let's set that aside. If for those who are one of those, they're probably busy, typing away right now about how it's insane to think that you could ever be, totally prepared, and so you just might as well curl up and wait to die. Okay, now for the more positive, for the people who actually want to prepare in order to live good lives. Now, what are we preparing for? That's the thing. But total preparedness is total preparedness. Total preparedness means that you are trying to be able to be self-sufficient, which means being able to survive, not just survive, but to live well, totally separate from outside systems, those interdependent systems over which we have little or no control. Okay, to go to this, since I was speaking about my books just a few minutes ago, that's what the Stonemont series is about. I wrote the series because there were enough books out there talking about how horrible things were. I wanted to write a blueprint on exactly how to prepare in order to be self-sustaining and live a good life no matter what the world brought you. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of this left. No matter what the world brought you, this was the entire plan. Okay, for those of you who have read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't, I put the links down below on how you can get them, either through Amazon or from me. This is a complete study. It's a novel. It's a novel series. It's about people. But it tells you exactly, and completely everything that you need to know. Okay? Get them while they're hot. No, you can get them anytime. But if you really want to know how, if you have a positive attitude, if you really want to prepare, if you really want to strive to build total preparedness, there you go. Total preparedness means it depends on what you mean by that. Does it mean that you will be able to satisfy all of your desires, all of your wants, or all of your needs? And that's the important distinction, okay? Some people will say, well, you can never do this or that or the other thing. And I say, well, you haven't read my books. And I'll say, no, you want to give your whoever a new diamond ring. No, you're not going to have your own diamond mine, and you're not going to have your own stone cutter. And there are a lot of things. Are you want to make your own movie after a total collapse? You're not going to be able to make your own movie, probably. Who knows? There are actually things in my books that tell you how you might be able to do that. Are you surprised? Yeah, guess what? There's a lot of surprises in there for people who are just willing to think outside the box. And sadly, the preparedness box is fairly restrictive, and too many people keep themselves within there. Oh, you can't go outside the box, can't go outside those lines, because how would you do that? Well, when you're asking yourself, well, how would you do that? You need to make it, how would I do that? How would I do that? How did everybody do things in the past? Okay? How did they make computers? Well, you're not going to make a new computer. Yes, I know. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the ability of man, and by that I mean mankind, to see a need or a problem and to develop the solution for it. right? And so, depending on your particular situation now, no matter where you're starting, you can attain total preparedness. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm going to define that finally. And that, I mean, for me, not finally, but it might be different for you. For me, that would mean everything collapses, just like happens in my books. Everything collapses. How are you going to survive? Are you going to be able to satisfy all your needs? Okay. Well, what's it going to take? And depending on your needs, your creativity, your will, you probably will. Now, will you be able to reinvent modern medicine? No. And then the other question is that important to do so? We've seen, a lot about modern medicine lately, right? Well, I know if you have a stroke, if you have a heart attack, if you need, great medical intervention, there's really nothing from the old ways that can replace that. There are times that we simply need that, okay? But you know what? People lived long, productive, and fulfilled lives before modern medicine came and intruded itself upon us, many times causing problems where they were trying to, or at least said they were bringing solutions, right? When you start on the path of total preparedness, you need to be organized. You need to know exactly where you're doing. Go with that hierarchy of needs, and not Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but the hierarchy of needs, Food, water, shelter, community, and defense. A way to support yourself, a way to defend yourself, okay? A way to nurture yourself. All of those things can be within reach. All of those things are within your reach right now. You can either choose to further develop them, or you can sit around and go, oh, woe is me, the sky is falling, politicians are crooked, the world, the deep state or the world or whatever is going to control us. They're trying to control us. Yeah, okay, what else is new? Have the rulers only recently tried to control their people? Go back into history. But it's never been this bad, Steve. You know what? Every generation could have said that. They could have said, it's never been this bad. There's no way that we can rise up and be self-sufficient. Okay, well, then you can't. But for the rest of the people, it starts where you start being determined to do it. And if you think, this is more, and what I'm talking about here, because there will always be that person that will come on, well, you just told us a whole bunch of nothing. You just told us that about total preparedness, but you didn't tell us how to do it. Guys, it took me 5 books to tell you how to do it. If you won't read them, it's not my fault, okay? But the message here is what's important, and that message, it is possible if you think it's possible. That's the thing. You have to do it your way. And again, like I say, it's not about me going out and teaching you, 19 different ways to start a fire and things like that. It's about this. It's about determining that you are going to be the primary driver and determinant of your life and of the lives of those who depend on you. And if you don't have that, you're not going to do it. It comes down to attitude. You know the old saying, and I don't really like trite sayings, but sometimes, even though they sound a little too cute, they're right. You've heard that altitude is determined by attitude, right? You add a little attitude with a little aptitude, and you're going to have altitude. Right? But you've got to have the attitude. Your attitude is going to determine where you go, where you spend and how you spend the rest of your life. If you are determined to do better, if you're determined to create to the best of your ability a self-sustaining lifestyle, Whether now or just to prepare yourself so that when it happens, it could be the next ice storm, it could be the next, it doesn't matter, okay? Are you prepared? Have you positioned yourself so that no matter what happens around you, you're still able to be the primary determinant of your life and of your lifestyle? That's what it all comes down to. Whether you are able to develop total preparedness is entirely up to you. Again, I know there's going to be people come on here and say, but I can't do it because. Then you can't. Okay? Then you can't. You could, but you won't, so you can't. For the rest of everybody, start with that. Okay, I'm going to do better from this moment forward. I'm going to be more focused. I'm going to be more organized. I'm going to take a closer look and an honest look at exactly what it would take for me to be what I consider to be totally prepared. And I'm going to do what it takes to get there. Remember, there's only two parts to any job, right? Getting started and keeping at it until the job's done. And in this case, the job's never done because you can always do better. When you get to the point to where no matter what happens, you can survive, well, now you've got another layer to go to where you're living well, right? Surviving isn't necessarily living well, but that's what you want. Okay, that's what I wanted to say today, because as I was writing the last part of this sixth book, so many of these things came back to me, and I'm writing about different communities now, different communities and how they have overcome this major collapse of the world. And so often when I write about these, I'm writing about people that I know. And I write about how would they handle things. Now, interestingly enough, and I'll tag this on before I close this out, as soon as I'm done with this book, I'm really interested to get to writing on another series. I'll start writing the seventh book of the Stonemont series, but I'm also going to be writing two other series at the same time, one of which I started at the same time that I started writing The Reversion, the first book in the Stonemont series. But I got so tied up in the Stonemont, in The Reversion, and then needed another book and another book and another book. The other one has kind of, I had to put it back on the shelf. But I'm really interested in writing, in starting to write that one again, because it's about, I'm going to be able to include all the naysayers. It's gonna start in the suburbs, and it's not just going to be about somebody who was prepared like I do in the Stonemont series. Not just going to be about that. It's going to be about everybody you know, all your neighbors, all my neighbors, everybody I know, all the naysayers, all the problem people that you're going to have to deal with when this goes down. And I tell you what, the last several years of being on this channel and all of the negativity that I've heard people talk about, boy, that's all going to be in there. And I'm going to enjoy writing about the difference in what happens between those who are determined to make it and those who just want to see the problems, right? If all you're looking at is the problem, you're not going to see the solution. But if you're looking at the solution, the problem's not nearly as scary. Isn't that right? Okay. I have put a few things up over on Patreon, even when I've been sick on here. If you're not with us, the link on how to join us is down below. Just hit it. Come join us on Patreon. Love to have you, as long as you're a good person. If you're polite and know how to act and things like that, because we got a good group over there, just like most of the people on YouTube are a good group. If you haven't read these yet, because the sixth one's coming out, you might want to do it. I'll put the links down below, how to get them on Amazon. Grab them. And I'm going to go out and do some things today, and I'm going to finish up probably the second to the last chapter and probably finish the design of the cover. Maybe I'll have that up for the patrons on Patreon in the next day or so, and I'm really excited about it. And finish this book out in the next couple of days. But remember this, okay? Whether total preparedness is possible depends entirely on you. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not possible, because the world is full of people that will want to keep you from doing your best, and they'll want to tear you down and say, well, it's just not possible, it's just not possible. You know what? You know why they say that? Because they don't want to put in the work, and it's a lot easier to tear down people who are trying than for them to try themselves. It's up to you. Go out there and do it. Do it for yourself. Do it for the people who rely on you. And remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.